Hello, I'm Danny Baumli with OTC DAIHEN. I would like to welcome you today to Welbee, Manual Welding, how professional grade equipment improves your welds. We're here to answer any questions that you have throughout this session, so just comment in the live text chat and we'll be happy to help. What challenges do you face in your welding operation? Is it skilled welders are difficult to find and keep? Product quality is hard to establish and maintain. Is the fabrication department and processes being held by your welding operation? I was just at a customer last week, a large trailer manufacturer, in fact, and some of the things that they were sharing with me is they're having a really hard time finding qualified welders. They've worked with the local tech schools. They've put out many ads and they're still facing a lot of difficulty. Lack of qualified and skilled welders. According to the American Welding Society, AWS, there will be a deficit of over 400,000 skilled welders by the year 2024. The number of skilled welders reaching retirement age far exceeds the number of new skilled welders required to replace them. This is what exactly that trailer manufacturer was discussing with me. Weld quality control is hard. Fabrication departments are challenged to produce consistent parts while managing several different variables. Skilled welders with a large range of experience, from the greenhorns to the old veterans that are set in their ways. They have different welding power sources throughout their shop, and each one of those has different capabilities and key features. They're welding on a variety of materials and cut qualities with different cleanlinesses and surface conditions, different fit ups. Are you being held hostage by your welding department? Maybe it's that management doesn't know welding. Is quality sacrificed for production goals? Preference for big welding brands as almost a religious cult, making decisions on equipment that's less capable equipment for the operation. Lack of qualified and skilled welders. Is that something you're facing in your shop? Welding is a skill and it takes time to develop. Sometimes it takes many years to develop that skill. At OTC, we have taken the time to create a job journal. In that job journal, we have given you many settings for different types of material that you can use as a starting point in your shop. You can print pages from that job journal, assign job numbers to those parameters, and use that so any welder in your shop can look at, I'm welding 1/16 aluminum this, and it's job number 22, and walk over to that machine, hit load, turn that single knob to job number 22, hit enter 2 times, and right there are all the settings that you have already pre-installed in the machine. Our welding power source holds 100 job settings. Yes, you can save 100 different job settings to the Welbee power source. You develop the setting, you can save that setting as between 1 and 100. And again, it's as easy as walking over, hitting load, turning that to the correct job number, and hitting enter 2 times. Anyone can use the same setting by just loading the correct job number. TIG welding is hard and expensive. And what do I mean by that? TIG welding takes a lot of hand-eye coordination. It takes time to develop that hand-eye coordination, and it even takes more time to learn to dip the rod in at the right time and adding the same amount of filler wire each and every time. And it's a skill that some people can never learn, never really get good at. Aluminum is the hardest material to TIG weld of them all. But with OTC's Welbee Pulse MIG power source, you can be making TIG-like bead appearances in no time. It's very easy. You have control over how the bead appearance will look right on the front of the machine. You can have control of how fast that the machine is pulsing, how wide or narrow that bead is. You have ultimate control with the Welbee power source. And where does that control come from? Comes from the Welbee Nano technology. This power source is making arc adjustments 50 million times per second. With that Welbee Nano technology, it helps us improve our IT quality, our networking capabilities. It's tough structure, easy maintenance, and it's built for manufacturing environments. DC pulse gas metal arc welding. Benefits for aluminum. What are the benefits? Some of the benefits? DC pulse welding significantly reduces the dust-like spatter, and it's always been problematic with gas metal arc welding, especially with some aluminum alloys. Another benefit of our pulse welding gives us superior feeding ability on even the 4000 series soft aluminum wires, which enables us to use our 13-foot standard MIG gun. It means you don't have to have a push-pull in your production environment. Those push-pull systems do add significant cost and maintenance time. We can still use a 13-foot gun. It just amazes me each and every time I see it done. But with the Welbee power source, it is easily adaptable with a push-pull system for extended reach. So if you want to achieve TIG-like bead appearances with gas metal arc welding, you need to use our patented wave pulse process. It is tailor-made waveform using pulse frequency to allow you to achieve different bead appearances. So you can see on the presentation, these are both the same settings. The only thing that we changed was the wave pulse frequency from 2.5 hertz in the picture to the left. The wave pulse frequency is increased to 3.5 hertz on the right. You have ultimate control with the Welbee power source. Again, I wanted to remind you, we are here to answer any questions you have throughout this session. Just make a comment in the live chat text and we'll be happy to help. Here you see our wave pulse. Wave pulse 2 is a stacked pulse inverter welding with synchronized wire feeding on a variety of materials. You use this on steel, stainless, aluminum, galvanized, any exotic metal, reducing weld porosity and improving weld strength. Here you see our low spatter mode. Our low spatter mode is a modified short arc. In this example, we have exaggerated the push angle, creating an extreme condition that produces welding spatter. So on the left side, you see the conventional short arc. You see how explosive that is, and you can see the spatter being formed immediately. On the right side, you see our low spatter mode of transfer. It's a much softer, cleaner arc, no spatter. Which welds cleaner? You see it, you answer it. Here's another video of our low spatter mode. Our low spatter mode is ideal for filling gaps and performing root passes. It's amazingly clean. Is your welding department challenged with quality control? People are human, and welders like to turn knobs. I hear that all the time. I also hear all the time when I'm visiting different shops, everyone welds with different settings. Some, like I say, I like it a little hotter. Joe runs a little colder. I watch people weld and ask them what they're doing, and they say, I like to whip the torch. They're stepping in and out of the puddle, creating spatter, creating cold lap. I hear very often that every machine welds differently in this shop. I don't know what setting to use, I just guess. Improved quality. With the OTC DAIHEN Welbee power source, you have one knob control. With the machine set in synergic, your amperage, inches per minute, and voltage will go up or down together. No more trying to get the amperage and wire feed speed to match your new voltage setting. With the OTC DAIHEN welding power source, you enter the settings that your company wants, say them as one of the 100 job settings, and restrict their ability to be changed. Let the machine do the work. Wave Pulse gives you a consistent and stronger bead profile. Once you program your first Welbee, you can use a clean flash drive to transfer your job settings from one machine to the next, making them all the same. We give you our Weld Job Journal. The Weld Job Journal shows you how to set up the machine for different materials, steel, aluminum, stainless steel. It gives you a weld setting, amperage, inches per minute, and voltage suggestions for a good starting point. Again, we're here to answer any questions that you have throughout this session. So just comment in the live text chat and we'll be happy to help. With OTC DAIHEN's Welbee power source, we give you multiple methods of gathering large quantities of detailed information. One of those methods is using a standard flash drive. What you would do is you would plug it into the front of the machine, right there at the USB port. That gives you the ability to download things like wire feed speed, gas consumption. You can even download the current settings being used on that machine. Let's just say you're having some trouble with your welds. You can download your settings to a flash drive. You can email those to OTC DAIHEN and we can take and add those to one of our machines and use the exact same settings to help you troubleshoot what your problems might be. One of the other options we have is an optional Ethernet. You can hook up multiple machines, up to 5 Welbee power sources, run them through a hub, and monitor what those machines are doing right in your office. And again, you can download many things, wire feed speed, gas consumption. It gives you an oscilloscope. One of the other options is using the wireless router. That gives you the capability of using an Android tablet to control a Welbee power source remotely. You just download the software. Software is free for the tablet or your Android device. And it gives you an exact screen just like the front of the power source. You're able to control things like your voltage, your amperage, can change your welding method, all that wirelessly. IT features and benefits. Again, we just talked about the standard USB port on the front of the machine, backing up large amounts of detailed information. You can edit the welding condition in the memory. You can transfer welding conditions from machine to machine to machine. And you have the optional weld monitor that we talked about that you can hook up using Ethernet or wireless control. Again, you can back up all the information that's inside that machine. So if something happens, you always have a backup. If your customer wants to know, how do you know that one weld from one weld to one weld on my parts are all the same? You have the data, you can save the data. You can use the weld monitoring for troubleshooting. And again, something very important, you can check welding time and wire consumption. Are you being held hostage by your welding department? Does ownership and management not truly understand welding? Have you been selecting the wrong equipment? Are you sacrificing quality to meet production requirements? Or the big one, I hear this from welders all the time. Well, I prefer this equipment. Well, I prefer that equipment. No, I like somebody else's equipment. Here at OTC DAIHEN, we have been delivering advanced welding and robotic automation for 100 years. We've been here for 40 years in the United States. We have the welding expertise to help you understand the different welding methods, why one process might be better than the other. We will help you understand the advancements in welding. We will review your current equipment and processes to make knowledge-based recommendations. Our Welbee technology monitors the welding arc 50 million times per second. You don't have to sacrifice quality or add expensive monitoring equipment. It is built into the machine. Skilled welders are a loyal breed of people. But if you show them an easier, more consistent welding machine, one that makes them shine, they will embrace the technology. If your welder is new to the trade, our Welbee power source will make them look like they have been welding for years. Welbee, welding's best electronic engine, is an advanced multifunction production welding power source. It welds all metals: steel, mild steel, galvanized, galvanneal, alum, hard and soft, exotic metals like titanium, Inconel, nickel chrome moly. It took OTC DAIHEN 6 years and more than $10 million to develop the custom LSI ASIC chip that is in this machine. What does that mean? That's 20 nanoseconds processing. Equates to 50 million arc adjustments every second. That's 4 times faster processing than the nearest competitor. It enables clean welding results, including with CO2, and eliminating the need for expensive helium gas. It easily converts to an automated or semi-automated or a robotic welding with our built-in network I/O and CAN bus capabilities.
Okay, so with the Welbee power source, you will see this indicator light. This indicator light should be brightly lit. That tells you that the correct power is running to the machine. If it's dull or not illuminated, the machine is not wired correctly. It is a safety feature. Next to that indicator light, you'll find the on-off switch. It is protected by this nice rubber cover. You just want to turn it on. Then you will see the machine goes through a diagnostic. It tells you hello every time you turn it on. Now that we have the machine powered up, you'll see that we have a travel speed button. We have a standard and a high. Welding method, we have DC pulse, DC, DC low spatter, DC wave pulse, DC TIG, and DC stick. We have a gas select button, but it gets locked out when you pick your wire materials. So whatever your filler wire is, you will see that it will change that gas selection automatically. Then next we have the wire diameter button. And we have 030, 035, 040, 045, 052, and 1/16. You'll see the crater fill button, and we use that for another method that we're going to discuss a little bit later. But we also have a spot timer that you can control how long it welds every time you pull the trigger, and it will weld that amount of seconds each and every time. We have weld monitoring, which we'll discuss later. You can see we have the synchro with the volt adjustment, and what that allows us to do is control the machine with one knob. You can select amperage or inches per minute, and you'll see the voltage goes up and down with the machine as well. Now the next button you'll see is our water torch button, We're not going to be using a water-cooled torch today, but if you were, you would take and select that. So the next button you will see is we have a wave frequency button. We use that when we are in DC wave pulse, and what that allows us to do, when you push that, it allows you to control the hertz. And what that is doing is changing the pulse rate of the machine. So we can increase it. We want a nice dime stack, we can go slower. If we want to smooth out that weld, we would increase the pulsing frequency. So the next button you'll see is arc control. We push the arc control. What that allows us to do is control the shape of the cone at the end of the wire. We can narrow it or we can make it wider depending on the bead profile that you're looking for. So the next thing you will see is we have the gas check button here. The gas check button, when you turn that on, what allows it to do is automatically flow gas all the way through the MIG torch, clearing out any impurity gas or anything after you've changed the bottle. Okay, so the next button that you see here is our inching button. What this button allows you to do is after you've just put on a new spool, you push that button and you can increase how fast the wire is feeding through the torch. Because we have a slow run-in, we'd like to turn this up all the way to 865 inches a minute to quickly get you back to welding. And when you do that, it does not change anything in the program. You're only changing it while you are feeding that wire. So the next function that I would like to take and demonstrate today is the ability to have a hot start, a main condition, and a crater fill. So I would come over here, I'm already in soft aluminum and I am wave pulsing. So I'm going to select the pulse function. My initial condition is on. So again, what this allows me to do is set an initial condition. I've already set the machine at 120. So I will adjust the machine back to 120 for my initial condition. Our main condition was already set at 90 amps, 19.1 volts. And I can add a crater fill, which would be just under that 90 amps. So I'm going to select 85, 86 amps, 19.9 volts. So you have your initial condition set at 120 amps. So when I pull that trigger and I hold the trigger, I'm welding at 120 amps. When I take and get my puddle started and I start to move, I want to release the trigger. The machine will automatically cycle down to my main condition, which is 90 amps, 19.1 volts. Then when I get down to the end of the weld and I need to fill the crater, I will pull the trigger, I will hold the trigger, and it will automatically cycle to 86 amps, 19.9 volts. I fill the crater, I release the trigger, and we're ready for the next weld. So because this machine holds 100 different programs that you can program the machine for any one of these processes, you want to get back to those quickly. So what you would do is you would hit the load button, you would select the correct program. For us, it's going to be number 2. Then you would hit enter once, enter twice. Now everything on there has changed and gone back to that correct program. Okay, so you've made some changes to your program. You've increased the voltage because you wanted to wet out the toes of your weld a little bit. Maybe you needed a little bit more or a little bit less wire feed speed. So now that you made those changes, you can save that as a new program, or you can save it over the program that you just made the changes to. My recommendation is save it as a new program till you make sure that you really like those changes. So we're going to find one that is open. When you have the 3 dashes, you know that's a program that hasn't been used yet. So we're just going to select enter, enter again because I want to make sure that it wasn't a mistake. And there you have it. All your changes that you just made to that to perfect your weld are saved in the machine. With today's demonstration, we're using our standard 743U feeder, which is the same feeder that we use both manually and on our robotic arms. But for today's demonstration, we're doing aluminum, so we have added the aluminum kit. What the aluminum kit is, you get a wire straightener. We've added cogs to the upper drive rolls, making it a 4-drive system. We're using U-groove drive rolls today's demonstration because we're welding 4043, and as you can see, it takes no special tools to change out drive rolls or the guides, because again, they all come set up for steel. So we change out the guides, and now we're ready to weld. With OTC DAIHEN's latest torch, the Blue Torch 3, we have addressed many issues: comfort and safety. We now offer heat shields, we offer pistol grip, we offer different trigger options, extended triggers, different grips. We offer a flexible neck, and along with our standard neck. And it's so easy to make those changes. It's a quarter turn, and the trigger comes out. Replace it with a different trigger, your pistol grip. Take the quarter turn back, you're back into welding.
Welbee accessories include our Extend Arc series, our overhead welding boom, our push-pull torch, our inline assist feeders. We also offer a trolley and water cooler. We also have an intelligent torch, a water-cooled torch, and a dual wire feeder. And on this slide, you'll see videos of several of the different waveforms that we have built into the Welbee. Please feel free to contact us and schedule your own live Welbee demonstration. Thank you for joining me today. I hope you were able to take away some valuable information. If you have more questions or want to continue this conversation, please join me in the post-show video chat for this segment. I hope to see you there.